Welcome to Ode to Games. My name is Logan Plant, joined today by Kevin Valine. What's up, Kev?
Nothing much. How you doing, Logan?
Doing well. I'm actually doing especially well today because Zach Rost is back after a 1 week absence. Hey, Zach.
I'm finally back. It feels like I take these huge gaps off. I'm gone forever, and eventually I come back. Y'all miss me. This time it wasn't that big of a gap, but I missed you guys. I wanted to be on the show last week because y'all were talking about Dragon Quest XI, and I wasn't here for it. And you had a special guest and everything.
You missed a lot of firsts. You missed the first guest. You missed the first video podcast. That video podcast is up on our YouTube page, Ode to Games, so you can check it out there. But Zach, you're back for your first video podcast today.
I am back, and it feels good because no one knows what I look like, and now they do.
Yeah. The face reveal.
They do, yeah.
The big old face reveal.
Yeah, and a really good shadow.
Oh, yeah, my big boy shadow.
We both got the shadows going on.
Yeah, I love it.
I guess
we got light coming in from the side.
I guess I've got better lighting in my apartment from my one light up there.
I don't have a light in this room is the problem. I had to buy a desk lamp just for this video podcast, and there was nowhere good to put it. It was either I just put it somewhere.
So behind the scenes stuff for you here.
We'll figure out the lighting situation by next week.
Action. So my lighting looks way different in here than it did last week. That's because when we had a guest, we were courteous enough to record in reasonable hours in America, but our usual recording time, I'll just tell you listeners, it is 2 a.m. right now where I am as we're recording this. So that's why the lights looks like this, because it is pitch black outside. It is the middle of the night.
No natural lighting possible for me or Logan. That's why we have shadows. It's Kevin's fault.
It's dark here too.
Really?
All right, that's fair.
5 o'clock. Sun sets.
Dang.
It's dark everywhere.
Yeah, it is. All right. Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. What do we got, Logan? What do we got this week?
We do, yeah. So the final Nintendo Direct Mini Partner Showcase happened. There hadn't been one yet in October. I think some of us were waiting on one. It finally came, and this was a pretty great one to go out on, I think. We heard about Bravely Default 2, No More Heroes 3, and those are really two of the games that I think we've been wanting to hear about since they announced that these partner showcases were a thing. So Bravely Default 2 pushed a little bit from its 2020 release date. It's coming out February 26th, 2021. Also got a new trailer. Kev, you played some of the first one, right?
Yeah, I did on 3DS.
What are your thoughts on the second one so far?
It looks really similar. It looks like a very cleaned up version of that original game. It's got the same artistic designs for like the cities when they were showing the explorable areas, and just kind of like, I don't know how exactly to describe it, almost like a pop-out painting or something like that. What the original game looked like. The combat also looks really similar. A big part of Bravely Default, the original one, was the job classes. There were a bunch of different job classes that you could pick from and swap your characters around, and that was part of the showcase of this, was them showing off some of the available job classes with the characters. So it looks like more of the same from the original Bravely Default, but of course looking a lot nicer. And I feel like for a lot of people, that's kind of what they want with this.
Yeah, for sure. Zach, any interest in this one?
I'm not a big Bravely Default fan. I didn't play the first one. I mean, it seems like something I'd want to check out at some point, but right now it's not even on my radar.
Yeah, Stealth, who was on the show last week, said how excited he was for Bravely Default 2. He's looking forward to that one a lot. So yeah, we heard about it just a few days later, but that's coming out next year. What I thought was really cool about this announcement was they had the survey for feedback that they released at the same time the demo came out earlier this year. And they actually released a YouTube video going over all the changes that they made in the final version. Yeah. And it's a lot of stuff. Like they tweaked the difficulty, added new difficulty options, made skippable battle intro cutscenes, like a lot of just really nice quality of life things for a JRPG that makes it look a lot more accessible. So yeah, go check that out to see all of the changes that they made to that one. But February 26th, that is 1 month before Monster Hunter Rise, 2 weeks after Super Mario 3D World Deluxe. The start of 2021 is pretty busy for Switch owners.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming out. I don't think I could recommend Bravely Default to you, Logan, if you didn't enjoy Octopath Traveler. I feel like there's some similar veins that they cross. So
the grind.
Yeah, and that's where I stopped with Bravely Default 1, was just like where you were starting to get like super grindy. Hopefully that has been toned down just a little bit, even from Octopath Traveler.
Yeah, it was absolute insanity. The grind in that game from level to level was just crazy. But Ah, man, it's a shame because I really like everything else about that game.
Yeah.
Another franchise we were talking about just last week
I
on
know.
the show,
Yeah,
Story of
crazy.
Seasons,
Yeah.
Pioneers of All of Town, is coming out March 23rd, 2021, 3 days before Monster Hunter Rise. And so I don't know how much it's like this in every Harvest Moon game, but you inherit your grandpa's farm.
It's like that on every single one.
Yep.
Okay.
Every
Because
single
I'm like,
one.
that's how Stardew Valley starts. I didn't
That's
know
how
if
Stardew
how
Valley
every
starts. That's how a
It
bunch
is-
of the Harvest Moon games.
It is the tradition to start your
Yeah,
farming simulator.
Your grandfather had a great life, and then he died. Here's his farm.
And
It's crap.
his farm is yours. How else are you just going to get a farm randomly? Oh, you
That's
just bought
true.
this farm with
That's
your
They
true.
no
could
money.
do that. They could do that.
Yeah, I
Maybe
guess.
someone just wanted to be a farmer and they bought the land. Yeah, that's how most of them start, if not all of them.
So I don't know about you guys, but I thought there were some vibes of trying to catch the Stardew audience a bit with this. They showed the mines, which I feel like have never really been a big deal in Harvest Moon. They showed clearing out the trees. They really emphasized customizing, which I
That's
know
the thing
some of the previous Harvest Moon and Story seasons have had, but I don't know. I caught those vibes a little bit with this. Kev, you're the big fan
I
of
am.
the franchise, former fan of the franchise.
Former fan, yes. I still like the old
Did this trailer do anything for you?
It did interest me a little bit, specifically the customization of the farm. They showed off some of that, being able to, obviously you're clearing out the area with all of the trees, but then they also showed like laying pathways and some other little customization things. They didn't show a ton in terms of like, I'm more curious about the buildings because they showed off like, oh, you're gonna find the barn or the coop or whatever. They showed these like rundown things, and I'd be a little bit worried if it's in the same spot for everybody. Like, I hope that there's a way to either build new ones or be able to move the existing ones so that you can really customize the farm. But the last Harvest Moon game that I really got into was before the name changed to Story of Seasons. It was Harvest Moon: A New Beginning. I feel like that was the last one under the Harvest Moon name.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
And besides the fact that that game starts super slow, that sucks. The coolest thing about that was that you were able to customize the town. So you were like being able to build the different like town buildings, put in paths by yourself, put in like lights and benches and parks and things. And I thought that was really cool. And then they just removed that. So to have something in a similar vein to that with farm customization, which I think is super fun, was something that definitely piqued my interest. There's a lot that I still want to know about the customization as well as how the rest of the game works. I am not a fan of them seemingly removing the character portraits. When you're talking to characters, I feel like that makes them a lot less expressive because they could change the character portraits to different emotions. You know, if they were like shocked or something, or if they were sad, they would change the character portraits. And with the 3D models, they don't really show that much emotion, not near as much as the character portraits. So there's definitely things that I'm not as much of a fan of, but some of the core ideas behind this game, I think, if fleshed out properly, could be really fun.
Zach, any chance you played this game?
I mean, I don't need a lot of farming simulators to keep me happy, and as of right now, Stardew's scratching all my itches. So once some of that Stardew wears off on me, I might check it out.
That is what we were talking about though last week. Of like, I feel like Stardew has become the near perfect farming sim and scratches the itch for everything. And then with Rune Factory out, providing its different gameplay styles, if you want to get that itch scratched, I feel like Rune Factory may be the better option. But yeah, I don't know.
Yep.
This could be good though.
And another thing is the confusion still exists in the branding. Like in a couple Nintendo groups I'm in, I saw multiple posts in the last couple days since this direct that said, "Wait, so is Story of Seasons the good one or is it the crap one?"
I hope
I
you
can't
helped
remember.
them out, or somebody helped them out.
Yeah, people did, but there is still that confusion out there, and that had to have hurt the Story of Seasons franchise because Harvest Moon is the name, it's the brand people know, but that franchise is just not quality anymore. So Story of Seasons, I feel like, does fight an uphill battle because at this point, Stardew Valley is a far more recognizable name than Story of Seasons.
It is. I was hoping that with the recent remake of Friends of Mineral Town and people knowing that that's a Harvest Moon game and then seeing that under the Story of Seasons name, they would be able to kind of put two and two together to be like, oh, okay, so this is Harvest Moon. This is what Harvest Moon was. But I'm sure for some people they didn't see that, or there's still some confusion there because it is weird because Harvest Moon is still getting released, and that's probably the weirdest thing about it is that there's Harvest Moon still technically exists.
Not in a very good state though.
No, just in a bunch.
We'll
of
move on
crap
from
mobile
that
games.
one though. It's coming out March 23rd. Glad to hear Kevin is intrigued because I didn't know if he would ever return to a Story of Seasons game, but this could be the one.
I need to see more though, and there's Rune Factory 5 still on the horizon as well.
Yeah, definitely. We'll roll through these next ones kind of quick. Surviving the Aftermath, spring 2021. Immortals Phoenix Rising got a new trailer. It's coming out December 3rd. If you're going to play that and you have another console, get it on another console. It does not look too hot.
It did not look great, no.
Yeah. It does not look fantastic. And that's getting a next-gen version, too, on PS5 and Series X. So Switch is really not the place you want to be playing that game if you have any interest in it at all.
Yeah.
Then there was a sizzle reel, which only included like 3 games. They showed Bakugan, Champions of Vestroia, which was revealed in a treehouse a couple months back, Griftlands, and Tropico 6.
I have to say, Tropico 6 looked absolutely hideous. Like, those are good games. Yeah. The Tropico games are fine, but graphically, that game looked really not good. That was the one thing that I took away from that entire sizzle reel. I was like, man, Tropico 6 does not look good on Switch.
No, it did not look very good. And then these two are really interesting to me. I know we're going to talk about our experience with it in a little bit also, but Hitman 3 Cloud version and Control Ultimate Edition Cloud version were both announced for Switch. Control is out right now. Hitman 3, no release date was given. It comes to other platforms in a physical and downloadable form early next year, but that was not confirmed for the Switch version. But cloud games are coming to the West for the first time on Switch. In Japan, Resident Evil 7 and Assassin's Creed were experimented with as cloud games, but it never came West. And now we see Nintendo taking a risk and bringing that experiment over here. Control, the way that it works, it has a 5-minute demo. You can download it, log in. You have to sit in a queue, and then once you're into the server, you can play for 5 minutes to see if your internet can handle it. And then it costs $40 for the right to stream, for the license to stream.
Cool. Gotta love the licenses.
Switch. Yeah, absolutely. So I think the first question I want to pose is, I think, 2 weeks ago we talked about Nintendo staying kind of up to speed going into next gen. Do you guys think this is a realistic option for them to be able to play these higher fidelity games still on the Switch hardware? Zach, start with you.
Yeah, I mean, we were getting to the point where they were releasing games that just weren't playing, like Outer Worlds, Witcher on the Switch. I mean, these games were looking disgusting.
Apparently, Outer Worlds got an update that makes it run a heck of a lot better now.
That's good.
You had to wait for that, though.
Yeah.
That took a while.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they've been trying out these things, and they've been releasing these games, and it's been getting bigger and bigger. So I think this is a very good way for them to keep going in that direction without hitting a wall, because they were very clearly hitting a wall. And I think that if people are willing to pay for these licenses and stream these games or the cloud versions of these games, which I know we're not big fans of, but some other people might be willing to do that, I think it's actually a good way to bring some of these heavier hitting games to the Switch without having to sacrifice as much quality and maintaining like 60 frames per second and decent graphics and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think
Kevin?
I think it's going to depend on how well these do. So like these are kind of the first ones to come west with cloud versions, and I think companies will be waiting to see how well these sell, because if they don't sell well, like a couple of cloud version games that don't sell well, I feel like companies will be a little bit more apprehensive to put in the work to try and get their cloud version game on the Switch. But if they do well and people snatch them up, then I feel like this could be the wave of the future for the Switch with games for other consoles to try to make their way over to the Switch. I feel like they're going to be doing that a whole lot more often, because we're getting to the point now where it's just not going to be possible to get these games on Switch in any other way besides the cloud. So I think it's just going to be a waiting game right now.
I'm also worried about it not being possible for so many parts of the country. Like internet speeds in specific parts of the country, like away from big metro hubs, it's not good. Like they don't have capabilities to be able to stream gaming at a level that is good enough to play it. That's been the barrier with Stadia and all these other things from going to the mainstream, is that a lot of the country just doesn't have the infrastructure for it yet. So
Yeah,
I do
not
wonder
a
how
lot of
successful
people
it's really going to be on Switch.
can get like a gigabyte speed of internet. That is a very select amount of people.
Yeah,
People are usually
definitely.
running like 200 megabytes.
And if people have data caps to deal with, that thing's going
Yeah,
to just
especially
tear
that.
through it.
Absolutely.
And if people have other people in the house
Yeah.
that they live with using the internet, that was my experience. So we all tried out this demo ahead of the show so we could talk about our experiences with our internet connections and what it was like playing this demo. I experimented a few different ways. I sat near the router, I sat far away from the router in a different room in my apartment, and I turned on Netflix and tried to play at the same time. And I had 3 very different experiences based on which I was doing. So why don't we just get into that right now? When I played in the room I'm sitting in right now, the router is very close to me. It ran great. Like I could really not notice a difference that it was from the cloud. There are a few times where like I would turn and she wouldn't turn quite as fast as I thought she should. But
A little bit of
like
input lag.
even in the combat section that I got to, because I skipped all the cutscenes to get ahead to some combat, it worked. When I played to the other room, it worked until I got to the combat, and then it got really stuttery and choppy and did not run all that smooth. When I turned on Netflix, it did not run at all. It was unplayable when I had anything else taking up any part of my internet. So those are my experiences. So not great. Like you have to kind of shut down everything else that's using the internet in order to be able to do this, but it was definitely playable at its best. Kevin, what was your experience?
Yeah, so my apartment's not super big, and my router, you can see it in the background there. It's kind of in the middle of the apartment. So in terms of coverage, I think it does a decent job of getting everywhere. So I tried to move around to different areas, and it was playing about the same whatever room I was in, because again, one room here, one room in the back there. They're all in similar distances to the router. But I was curious to see what would happen when I swapped over to because they've got 2 settings where it's like, prioritize performance or prioritize how good the game looks. And I swapped over to the other, and it definitely ran a lot choppier, no matter where I was. And I think I have like 150 and 50 or something is my internet speed, which is pretty decent. So, but yeah, in the right situation, it's perfectly viable, but that's not going to be the same for everybody. Again, I'm the only person living here, so I don't have to worry about somebody else being on my internet. When I'm on it, that's it, and it runs fine. But I feel like if you have other people in the house that use the internet at the same time, like you have to look at a lot of different circumstances and situations, your internet speed, all of that, before you go in here, because I feel like from Logan's experience and even mine that, man, any little variable that you change could change the type of experience you have.
Yeah, what was it like for you, Zach?
Yeah, I didn't screw around with the variables too much. I did play it in the room with the router, so it ran pretty smoothly. I was in the performance enhanced mode. I didn't test out the graphics enhanced mode too much because I knew it wouldn't run as choppy. There was some slight input lag at times, but other than that, I thought it ran pretty smoothly.
Still not a fan of the game, by the way.
No, not gonna pay $40 to stream this game. Probably not.
Yeah, and that's, I think, another thing to think about it too is that cloud games rip away the core draw to the Switch, which is taking it with you. You need a constant internet connection to play these cloud games. So that's, I think, another big hurdle, is that so many people love taking their Switch with them, playing it when they're out and about, and you can't do that with these games. So if you're considering buying it, you have to consider how many people use your internet, how good is your internet, where is your router, and do I play at home enough for this to be worth it? Because you're tethered to your internet connection if you want to play any of these cloud games. That's just the reality of it. So it's a weird match for the Switch, because that's the Switch's thing.
I am going to be very curious how well this thing sells, because I feel like there is a very small portion of people that this pertains to. People that keep their Switches at home, have, good internet connections, and don't have a PlayStation or another console to play it on. Like, those are the people that this is catered towards. And I don't know how big of a group that actually is. And they have to be interested in the game.
Yep.
I feel like that's a lot of variables.
Exactly. Like if you have a great internet connection and you want to play Control, you probably have a PlayStation. Like, I don't know.
Probably,
that's just me. Like, I feel like it is a pretty small subset of people. all three of us, like, we would never pay $40 to stream a game like this. Like, there's rumors that Resident Evil 3 is coming to Switch through cloud streaming also. Zero of us would ever do that. Would ever pick that over getting it on PlayStation, where it will look and run better. And the pro to getting something on Switch is take it with you.
Right.
But with this, that's eliminated. So anyone that has, or even a competent PC for some of these games, anyone that has that isn't probably going to seriously consider buying the Switch version.
Yeah, I just think there's a very small group of people that this caters to. And again, if it doesn't sell well, I don't see too many other forays into cloud beyond this and Hitman if that comes out. If it doesn't sell well, I don't see too many other companies going after this.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll be interested to see, because this is an experiment. Maybe Nintendo is also thinking about, hey, how are we going to keep up with the power and performance of these next-gen systems? And this is just an idea they're trying. I don't personally, I've seen some theories that people say the Switch Pro is going to be 5G tied into cloud gaming. I don't think they're ready to go that all in on it at this point. Absolutely not. But it's going to be interesting to follow to see how these games end up doing. Because I even saw someone who was like, I'm trying to play Control. They logged on and they came to a screen that said there's too many people playing right now. You are in the queue. Your number is 242. So there are 240 people in front of them to get into the server to play Control. That's another factor that is a kind of a barrier to entry to this new thing.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't have to deal with that, because if I was on the servers from back home, I'd be playing at like 2 a.m. or something, or 3 a.m. But yeah, having to deal with that too. I can't see this doing very well, sales wise.
No.
Yeah. Interesting experiment though. Like seeing it run on my Switch, like in handheld mode, I was like, dude, this is so weird.
Yeah. It's like this.
Because it did look really good. Yeah. So interesting. Did not expect that really at all. So curious to see where it goes from here. Something we have been expecting for a while though. No More Heroes 1 and 2 are available now on Switch. $19.99 each, currently on sale for $17.99. And No More Heroes 3 got a little bit of gameplay. That game looks gorgeous and insane. It's coming out next year. Zach, we played these both this year. You spent $40 on No More Heroes 2.
That feels bad, man. Because now that the ports are out on Switch for $20 a piece, I think. I know the Desperate Struggle's $20.
Yep, they both are.
I own that game on Wii. Cost me $40. Got it on eBay. Had to wait for it. I don't regret it though. We had a good time. I do, yeah.
And we got to play it together. We wouldn't have been able to if we had waited for the Switch.
That thing's probably going to drop in value now. I wonder how much. I'm gonna keep an eye on the value of the Wii version.
Oh my God.
Honestly, it could go both ways. It could drop in value or go up in value. Like
if it goes up in value,
went up in value after the Switch version was announced.
There we go. People are collectors after they start playing it on the Switch.
Yeah, but cool announcement. Available now. If you haven't played these, I definitely recommend them. There is some grind, there's some cheese, there's some brutally hard sections, but
I wonder how much of that is going to get patched out of the Switch ports, because if we had to
play the game for real.
I don't know, because we had our weird grinding strategies. I don't know if those are still going to work. I hope they do for the sake of other people.
Yeah, because the games are slightly adjusted because motion controls are optional, so you have to do the waggle to recharge your beam katana in the originals. But in this one, you can just like hold L and rotate the right stick to recharge. So there are new control options, which I hope carries over to No More Heroes 3. I hope you have especially if you're playing in handheld, the non-motion options. But
man,
actually,
the waggling is half the fun. That's like the whole point.
Like when the arrows come up on the screen, you have to swipe that way. I actually think that's pretty satisfying.
Yeah. When you finally get the kill.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So cool to see these are out. Excited to see a little bit more No More Heroes 3. Kevin, you should pick these up and play them.
The Switch ports make it a lot more likely that I'll play them, because it was before they came out, I wasn't gonna be playing them and maybe hop into No More Heroes 3 without playing the first two. Really good that they put the first two on Switch. $20 is a solid price for them. They just got to compete with all the other games that are coming out.
Yeah, but they both jumped into the top 10 in the Switch charts, so they are doing pretty well. Yeah, definitely. So
I don't know why Pikmin ain't doing that. Hopefully Metroid will get that treatment with the trilogy when that gets closer to coming out, because this shows that if you bring out the first couple of games in a series before the new one comes out, people will buy them because they can't buy them anywhere else.
Yeah.
Nintendo's got to get on that.
And speaking of Pikmin, this mini direct dropped at the same time that the review embargo for Pikmin 3 Deluxe lifted, and it's like, Nintendo, are you trying to kill this game? Are you trying to just make it dead in the water?
Yeah. They're just trying to kill Pikmin.
Yeah, which is reviewing very well, by the way. They say great quality of life improvements. The split screen mode is a cool add, and the new content isn't the best, but still cool that it's there. So yeah, be on the lookout for Pikmin 3 Deluxe. That's out today, the day this episode drops. So I hope that game does well, because even though I've never been super into Pikmin, I don't want that franchise to join the F-Zeros of the world, of the dead Nintendo franchises
that are actually good games that just don't sell.
You won't be picking up Pikmin, Logan?
I have it on Wii U.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
All right. So you don't want those quality of life improvements?
You didn't, though.
No, but the split screen is tempting. That's not in the original. Like, multiplayer does sound fun for that game. So, yeah. I mean, if like I was in the same place as either of you, I'd be like, hey, let's play Pikmin 3. But
yeah.
Not. So
right.
I think I can
can't
wait.
Really do that.
Yeah.
And I just want to say that there's still 2 months left for them to announce a new F-Zero, and my prediction of them announcing a new F-Zero to be correct.
Yeah, I wish, dude.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We got a couple more games to get through here. Part-Time UFO, HAL Laboratory, Kirby developers. It's out now. I picked it up. It's $9. It's really cute. You are just this little UFO with a crane who moves objects, stacks objects in a bunch of wacky different ways. Since it is like it's got that Nintendo DNA, I'm excited to see just all the crazy uses for this crane and this really simple mechanic as the game progresses. So I thought it was really cute. I picked it up right away.
I did not, but it did look really cute. Definitely. How many new things has it been like throwing at you? Because it is like a small title. Is it pretty samey as you go along, or does it keep it fresh from what you?
I've only done a few levels so far, and I feel like it's gonna ramp up a lot of challenges, and it has that Nintendo thing where you can just blast through the levels, or you can go back and get 3 stars.
Yeah,
if you
get all the side stuff.
If you get the 3 achievements per level, you unlock a harder version of the same level. So there's that you can go for too. So for $8, it actually seems like there's a lot of there. There's little costumes you can buy for your UFO to wear with in-game points that you earn. So yeah, I think it's actually going to be pretty meaty for what you probably expect for $9 or whatever it was, $8.99 I think. So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing more of it. But I just messed around with it a little bit last night. I haven't been too far.
All right, nice.
Yeah, Part-Time UFO. It's cute. Also has multiplayer too.
Online
this is the one I'm most excited.
Online?
No, just local 2-player multiplayer. And this one I'm excited to talk about. Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity. Weird to see Zelda in a partner showcase.
Yeah,
this is Koei Tecmo. Nintendo's not developing this game, but yeah, that was pretty strange for me to see that. But they dropped a demo. We've all played it. We'll talk about that in a second. New trailer reveals that the divine beasts from Breath of the Wild are going to be pilotable. You can play as them in select levels of this game, which is just crazy. I am super impressed with the lead up to this game. They are just adding so much into it, so much Breath of the Wild, just love and inspiration. Demo's out. You can play the whole first chapter. The save does transfer over to the full game. I'm going to put out a warning now, since people are very sensitive about Zelda spoilers. I want to talk about what happens in the story in the first chapter, because it's out in the demo. You can go play it now for free, but if you haven't played it, then just skip ahead a few minutes. But I do want to talk about it. But let's talk about the gameplay first of this demo. First couple chapters, you get to play as Link, Impa, and Zelda. Kevin, you did not play Hyrule Warriors.
I did not.
What did you think of this gameplay for the first chapter that you got to experience?
I had a lot of fun. I don't have much experience, not only with Hyrule Warriors, but just the Warriors series in general. I've played very sparingly amounts of some of the older Dynasty Warriors games, so it was a good time. Learning all of the different combos and all the different character abilities. Just trying to build in that muscle memory for me as I was playing through, and remembering which trigger would bring up the God, I'm forgetting the name of the powers from like stasis.
The Sheikah Slate.
The Sheikah Slate.
Yeah.
Pulling up the Sheikah Slate powers, or being able to go to the other side and pull up your food or your other like other weapons that you picked up, like fire rods and things. So trying to build in that muscle memory. But it seems like from what I played, not only there was a lot of variation in the actual characters, and then you go to the different characters and then they have a whole new set of combat. So it was like playing completely different characters each time, but still having some of the same little things with the stasis. So I just like all the different abilities that you were able to get. I was like swapping between a bunch of the different ones where I was going to use stasis, or I was going to use the bombs, or I was going to use the arrows with Link, or use his combos, or hop over to Impa and use her ability to spawn multiples of herself to do combat there. Like it always felt like I was doing something different. And I thought that was really cool because they just have so many different things that they can do, and you can unlock even in the demo, you can unlock extra little parts of your combo. You can extend the combo out by doing side missions for some of the places in Hyrule. I really like the combat. I still don't know it very well because there's a lot going on, but I feel like when you get it down, it can be very cathartic just playing through with all those options available to you.
I love Link's combat in this game. I think it is so satisfying. I've played a lot of it. I've replayed the first mission a bunch of times just because I really like exploring Hyrule Field as Link. And I like that. I mean, the original Hyrule Warriors does this too, and I'm sure the other Dynasty Warriors games do as well. But hitting X after you hit Y 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times does a completely different move. Like if you do it once, he leaps into the air and you can do this sweet down thrust move into the ground. 2 times you do the shield surf, which I love.
It's hilarious.
3 times I think you do like a really aggressive spin attack, but it's just awesome. His combos are super cool. And I like that, like, if you hold down the button during his combo, he gets a little bonus move at the end, which does a ton of damage. But yeah, I really liked how Link felt. I thought it felt really tight. I love that when you do the dodge at just the right time, it does the flurry rush, just like in Breath of the Wild. It's the exact same move there. I thought that was fantastic. Throwing the bombs is super satisfying, and he just heaves the last one in there at the end of his combo. Yeah, and then going to the other characters, like you said, Kev, they feel so different, which I don't really remember it being like that in the original Hyrule Warriors. There's so many characters that kind of, some of the types of them kind of blend together. Your small, quick characters, your medium, or your large characters. But I feel like this roster is going to be smaller but more focused. It was kind of the idea that I got from this one. All 3 characters you get to play as feel totally different, and that's a really, really cool thing. And the combat just felt tighter than the original Hyrule Warriors to me, and Fire Emblem Warriors. I was a huge fan of that. Zach, what did you think of the combat?
Yeah, I think you guys summed it up pretty well. I like the uniqueness of each character. I thought Link felt very good. I loved learning the combos of like going Cryonis up into the air, hang gliding, and then coming down on enemies, doing the shield surf. Yeah, so good. So I love how loyal it is to Breath of the Wild. It feels like Breath of the Wild. Impa's Shadow Clones was like my favorite thing. I thought that was super cool.
Yeah, it's super satisfying to do that.
Destroying enemies, yeah. But yeah, I'm not huge on the Warriors franchise. I know those hack and slash kind of games are super popular, but they've never really been my thing. I did have a lot of fun with this combat though, so I'm actually definitely thinking about picking up this game, especially because of me playing Breath of the Wild and wanting to know more about the story. The cutscenes in this were also good. I know we're talking about the combat right now, but the cutscenes, there was a lot of cutscenes for a demo.
Yeah, there were, and we'll get to that in a second, but I just want to add on that first mission where you're exploring Hyrule Field. I just love the detail of just the arena itself. Like, you can go and find the first village in Link's Awakening is rebuilt in Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. And it's in Breath of the Wild, it's there. It's Mabe Village, and it's on your map in Breath of the Wild, but it's in ruins because everything is in ruins in Breath of the Wild. But in Age of Calamity, you go there and it's there. The Marin's house, the Chain Chomp Lady's house, the Fisherman's house, like it's all there, and it's so cool. And just the attention to detail is amazing. You can discover Koroks in the levels, which is very Breath of the Wild. Obviously, there's 900 in that dang game, but I don't know. I just really, really loved it. My biggest hope was that it would truly feel like a prequel to Breath of the Wild, even though it has this crazy different combat and gameplay style. And I think it does. Like, I think it infuses enough elements from Breath of the Wild that even though it's this hack and slash 1 versus 1,000 game, it still feels true to that original source material. So I was super impressed with the demo. I was a really big fan of it.
Yeah, it definitely pushed me a little bit more towards the buy. Again, there's too much to play right now, but I was really probably not going to pick it up. But after playing the demo, playing through the combat, seeing the story that was there, I was like, okay, when there's a little bit of lull in games, I may pick this one up.
Yeah, and I like the mission variety already too. Like in mission number 2, your job is to go activate 2 guardians that are in ruins, and then lead a guardian that you're not strong enough to kill yourself yet to be destroyed by those guardians' lasers. And it's different than just plow through this field of enemies. It's more tactical than that. And if they can keep introducing these different missions throughout, which I'm sure they will, I think it'll stay fresh throughout the campaign, even though the core gameplay is just mowing down guys, which feels great too. Like the combat's awesome. So yeah, it's a win-win there. So the story, though, I'm a little concerned about it. I liked the cutscenes. I liked more voice acting from Zelda and the King, and we're going to get to meet the champions and all this stuff. But the core hook right now seems to be this little guardian dude travels back in time. He's from the Calamity 100 years in the future when Breath of the Wild takes place, and he goes through this portal back in time to save Princess Zelda. So my question is this always like how it happened? Like, was this little robot dude always a part of Link and Zelda's journey 100 years ago? Or is this some big, like, alternate timeline thing that they're shoehorning in? Because, slight spoilers for Breath of the Wild, all the champions die, right? They die in this fight, in this war 100 years ago. Did Nintendo not want to approve a game where these champions die? So this robot is coming back and they're going to win the war? And it's actually going to have nothing to do with what actually takes place in Breath of the Wild? What do you guys think?
I honestly don't know. I hope they don't do that because when you mess with the time, everything gets weird.
Yeah.
I feel like it'd also be gross. Honestly, it'd be gross to call it a prequel if it's an alternate timeline to the first one and doesn't actually like line up properly, because then I wouldn't call that a prequel. That's kind of a side thing.
Yeah.
And they're kind of pushing it like that.
Yeah, they're pushing it like it is a prequel.
Right.
Discover the events that led to Breath of the Wild.
Exactly,
right?
But if it's not, they can't say that if it doesn't actually lead to the events of the game.
Yeah.
And then Breath of the Wild 2 takes place in this alternate timeline where all the champions survived. No.
I mean,
I hope not.
I
doubt it.
If you're throwing in time travel, then everything just gets wonky.
Exactly.
Time travel, Sonic 06, time travel.
Yep.
Good stuff. But whenever you throw in time travel, it just kind of throws everything off, because then it's like, oh, is this how it always was? Or if someone goes back in time, then shouldn't they have already been there at the start of that? You know, they should have been there all the way through. Time travel just makes everything more complicated. So obviously we haven't seen all of the story, so we don't know how much he plays into it, or how, what his role is exactly. But looking at it right now, it seems like something that was put in that maybe wasn't entirely necessary and just complicates things.
Yeah. And I don't know if they just wanted a cute little character, a cute little buddy to help market the game or whatever.
They didn't have to send it back in time, Just have a
robot
little guardian dude.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just a little concerned about that, because I do want it to be a prequel to Breath of the Wild. I was thrilled at the concept of playing a Nintendo game that ends poorly, because they always end great because it's Nintendo and it's fun and it's family friendly. But I was excited to have a dark game because it ends up fine 100 years later, because it's Breath of the Wild. And Link does save the day, and they go off to rebuild Hyrule or whatever. So I was excited to see that. But if this is not even a true prequel, I thought this thing was like canon for the Zelda timeline. They've been marketing this as if it's like a Zelda game, even though it is Hyrule Warriors. It's not developed by Nintendo. We've heard about how hands-on Nintendo is with it. So I would just be kind of surprised and a little disappointed if it goes in that direction and is not canonically related to Breath of the Wild, because that's what I've been looking forward to.
And I feel like that's a hook for a lot of people that aren't necessarily interested in the Warriors gameplay, that they're there for the story to see what happened before Breath of the Wild, and then all of the extra stuff that the game provides is just kind of, a side thing for them. And I could see them being really disappointed if they take it in a different direction story-wise.
Yeah. I'll still enjoy the game, I'm sure, because I do love the gameplay, and I think I'll still enjoy the story because I do like those characters. I do like the champions a lot. They were the highlight of Breath of the Wild. Partially was the champions and learning more about them. So that will be fun. But if it's this weird way to get the champions to all be alive again, and then will Breath of the Wild 2 be related to this at all? Or
that could be a mess. That could be a mess.
Like, I don't know. So we'll see. We'll know soon. Game's out in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll definitely see with that one. But other than that, and a few frame rate hiccups that I personally had, I loved the demo.
Yeah, me too.
Had a great time with it.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't think it was like game breaking or it didn't really ruin my experience, but it was there. Definitely noticed some frame issues with more enemies on screen.
Better than Control when Netflix is on.
Yes. Yes, far better. And then, Kevin, you added here that there were a couple games. This is the last thing for the Direct. Rune Factory 5 got a release date in Japan. And then Buddy Mission Bond is a visual novel that you wanted to bring up real quick.
Yeah. So, yeah, first Rune Factory 5, May 20th, 2021. So, coming out in about half a year in Japan. No word yet on the U.S. release date. And then, yeah, Buddy Mission Bond. This comes out relatively soon in Japan only right now. No word on if this is going to get localized or anything. January 29th of 2021. But just watching it and seeing the really stylized characters trying to solve mysteries as this like crew and everything, I was like, okay, this is Ace Attorney, right? Like, it's different. It's not exactly the same, but you get those vibes from a visual novel, solving crimes. Obviously, this is more like a spy thing rather than a detective sort of situation. But just watching that trailer that they showed off, I'm like, okay, this looks like an Ace Attorney game, just a little bit different. And the characters look super stylized and super fun. I love the designs that they made for all the characters. This is definitely one to keep an eye on. If you have Japanese ability, play it when it comes out on the 29th, but hopefully they bring it over to the West at some point, especially if it
You going to go for it in Japanese?
Maybe. It's $60. So
oh man.
So I'll wait and see what the consensus is at the very least with, like the Japanese reviewing scene, and if it reviews well and I see some stuff on it, maybe I will give it a shot. But it definitely looks super stylized and in the vein of Ace Attorney. So yeah.
Yeah, I thought it looked cool too. Hopefully it makes its way over at some point. But we've gone on long enough about this final Nintendo Direct.
There's a lot in there. That was a really good partner showcase. We've gone a long way from WWE from a couple months ago.
Yeah, it was the longest one too.
Yeah. 20 minutes.
Yeah, and then so that was cool. Then No More Heroes. It was a big highlight from this one, and Bravely Default, Age of Calamity. 3 big games people associate with Nintendo more than with the partner showcase part of it. Like, I think you think of like Bravely Default, that's like a Nintendo series. It's only been on Nintendo consoles. And then same with No More Heroes. I mean, it had the remake on PS3, but still very closely tied to Nintendo. And then Zelda, obviously. So, yeah, that was really cool. And then we got some good stuff from these overall. Rune Factory 5 was shown off for the first time in one of these. Monster Hunter Rise was in Stories 2, huge announcement from earlier. So,
Story of Seasons overall, was announced through one of these. Like,
they really improved.
Yeah. Which is good because that first one, man, you look back on that first one now and you're like, man, that was not good.
Yeah.
In comparison to what they came out with afterwards.
Yeah. All right, let's get into some other news. Bombshell earlier this week.
Oh my God.
Unbelievable. Cyberpunk 2077 has been delayed again, this time to December 10th. So 3 weeks. Till Cyberpunk 2077 was supposed to come out November 19th, which was the same day as the PS5 launch in Europe, other parts of the world that aren't getting it on the 12th, like here in the States, Japan, and a few other select territories. But it's been delayed to the 10th. Their reasoning, they say, is because they have to get it to work on all 9 platforms
which they didn't see coming, apparently.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit weird because they were... We've known that they've been working on stuff for next gen for a while now.
Yeah.
So...
But it sounds like today I read that it sounds like current gen is the issue.
Yeah, that's what I was saying too, which is weird.
Which is
it was
what
originally
they were
developed
designed for.
Yeah.
But I guess they said that it became a kind of a next gen title somewhere down the line. And now they're having problems getting it to work on some consoles. So if you're keeping track at home, the 9 places it's coming out: Xbox One, Xbox One X, Xbox Series, PS4, PS4 Pro, PS5, PC, Stadia. What am I forgetting? I'm forgetting one other one. I don't even know.
Did you say PS5?
He did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what the other one is, but they're coming out.
Series
It's coming out in 9 places. I don't know
Ooh.
if I counted that one's a separate one, but yeah, 9 different places. This thing's going to be playable, and they're struggling to get it out. But another delay, and the dev team, and it sounds like, was blindsided like this just as much as the public was. It sounds like a memo went out the same time as the tweet went out to the public saying this thing was delayed, which provides context and reasoning for why the social team was swearing up and down as soon as the night before that this thing was coming out, and that people could take days off work to play it on the 19th, and that there would be no more delays. Just a really bad look all around for this 3-week delay, in my opinion.
Yeah, apparently it was because of the stock market. They couldn't give that information beforehand.
Insider trading, so...
But you got to let the team know, right? The team's got to be on the same page. With a project this big, communication is paramount. So everyone is on the same page. Everyone knows. Like, wouldn't that just be weird how, you're working on it with the thought that, okay, this thing's coming out November 19th. That's what we got to work towards. And then the day that everyone else in the public finds out is the same day that you find out that you got another 3 weeks to crunch to get this thing done.
Yeah.
There's got to be a better way, right?
Yeah.
To be able to keep strong communication with the team. And that also makes it seem like it was also relatively last minute too. Because once you had the game going gold and you had the big ad with Keanu Reeves at the NBA Finals. And I felt like those two things together were just like, okay, it's coming out. Even if they've got some little problems, that'll be the patch that they work on when the game comes out.
Yeah.
I thought those sealed it. So this had to have been a really late decision where they're like, all right, this isn't going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Zach, I know you're looking forward to this. It was supposed to come out on your birthday. That was 2 release dates ago.
Which was already after one delay.
Oh my God. The real sad thing about it is that 2 weeks ago, I think we were talking about Cyberpunk, and in the back of my head, I'm like, it's going to get delayed again. And I didn't say it. I wish I had said it, so then I could have been like, I predicted it was going to get delayed again, and now it got delayed. I'm sad, and I didn't even get that prediction out there. So I'm doubly sad. I just hope it comes out this year. I just don't. I want to play it so bad.
Yeah, and the real quick, the 9th console is the S, the Xbox Series.
Okay,
S.
yep. Good job, Kevin.
Woo! Yeah.
I didn't know if they counted those as the same or different. It's also
really hard to tell with them.
They've got so many different SKUs. Yeah, for me personally, it sucks that I won't get to play it earlier than it's coming out now, but with Yakuza Like a Dragon
definitely playing Yakuza Like a Dragon now.
Sakuna on the same day. I'll be able to spend some more time with those and any other games I want to play before this comes out. I'm fine.
But you can play Spider-Man sooner now if you wanted to.
I could do that if I wanted to.
Yeah, now I have time to play Spider-Man and Yakuza, but it's going to cut into my Dragon Quest 11 Definitive Edition time now.
Oh, you're planning that's a thing that you're set on now, huh?
Well, I've been wanting to replay it for a long time, and then I just decided to wait for the re-release on PlayStation. So I was planning on playing it because I figured I'd be done with everything by the time it came out. But now it's going to come out, and then exactly a week later, Cyberpunk comes out. Something like that. So I don't know. I'm going to have to beat it in a week. That's like 80 hours. Like, I don't know.
Good luck. Anyone can do that. It's you. Yeah. Your Witcher experience,
But now, Witcher 3 was the first game I beat this year, and now it's seeming like Cyberpunk will be the last game I beat this year.
Or the first game you beat next year when it's pushed to
either one is something,
Yep, exactly.
But yeah.
Yeah, but that is a good thing, is that November is such a crazy month. There's so much coming out that it will benefit these other games. I think more people will check them out than may have checked them out before. Talking Spider-Man, Assassin's Creed, Yakuza could be benefited since that's a more niche title that maybe more people pick up now as a launch title for their Xbox. And then even Age of Calamity, on a completely different system than what Cyberpunk's coming out, but they were only a day apart. There may have been some big Nintendo fans who are like, no, I got to play Cyberpunk on day one. But now maybe more people will experience that right away. So November still feels very packed, even with the absence of Cyberpunk. And it is only 3 weeks, but just the messaging is crazy. I mean, April to September to November to December. It's crazy, and they're just getting shorter windows each time.
Yeah.
It's like,
Boom,
5-month delay, 2-month delay, 1-month delay, and it's just what's that?
2-week delay,
Sorry,
5-day
guys,
delay.
December 17th. Yeah,
we get to a point where it's like it's not coming out today; it's coming out tomorrow. Give us
because Uncharted 4 got delayed like a month. Like the delay was extremely short for Uncharted 4, and I think that's what we kind of thought the September to November delay was for this game. Like, okay, this is at the polished delay, the last one, but no. Yeah. It got another one after that. That's got to be the last one.
That April to May delay for Uncharted 4 was killer.
It
hurt. It hurt bad.
Just like the May to June delay for
Last of Us. At least I predicted that one.
You did.
So you were prepared.
I at least got a little bit of gratitude for that.
Yeah. Just my sympathies to all the devs that are going to have to crunch for another 3 weeks before the game comes out.
Rest in peace.
Then you got to keep going for those patches after the game comes out. So it's just another 3 weeks of that.
I hope it's not a broken mess. I really do.
Did you guys see?
Imagine.
Honestly, I had.
Did you see the story that came out of someone who had worked on The Witcher 3 was getting paid like $400 or $500 a month or something?
Yeah.
Like,
do you know what they were doing?
They were like an artist, like a art designer or something. Like,
not great.
Yeah. Hopefully it's a little bit better than that, but man, that crunch it's just got to be even more prolonged now.
Yep.
Yeah. Cyberpunk sets a new record. It had 4 release dates this year, beating the Last of Us record. It had 3 this year: February 20th, May 29th, June 19th. So,
God.
Yeah, 4 for Cyberpunk 2077. And honestly, whatever little shred of hype I had is gone. Like I'm just not on board for this game. I'm honestly worried about it. It's been delayed so many times, and it's like, is it because they want to make it a perfect send-off for the generation and introduction to the next gen, or
they're just trying to make it playable?
Live up to this immeasurable hype that has been set for it over literally almost the entirety of the 2010s.
Well, with the hype that it's built up, I don't even think you can expect it to surpass it, because this thing was announced so many years ago. It's such a huge game, and the length of time that they've had to build up hype, I don't even think you can expect it to reach that level, even if it's a great game. Like, it is.
I just want it to be good. I don't care. I just want to have a good time.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because I mean, sometimes we have seen games live up to that hype. I mean, Breath of the Wild was critically and commercially adored after it launched, after years of hype and build up. So it could be like that, or it could be like something else. Can't think of an example. Watch Dogs 1 is what came to mind.
Oh my god.
I don't think it'll be quite like that, but just a game that doesn't quite reach the groundbreaking experience that people expect it to be.
Yeah, I'll have to wait and see another couple weeks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're running short on time here, so we'll rip through these last stories here. Speaking of delays, Far Cry 6 and Rainbow Six Quarantine, what an unfortunate name, by the way, were delayed 2021, 2022, after April 2021, but before March 2022. Far Cry 6 was supposed to come out in February of next year, so we'd seen literally nothing of it. And then Rainbow Six also pushed back.
I believe we've also
Zach and I were talking. Yeah, we're gonna play Far Cry 6 when it's $20. We're gonna rip through that.
So like
confirm that
2-3 months after it comes out.
Not that.
It's a Ubisoft game.
Just not great news this week. Chris Lee, the Halo Infinite director, is gone. He has left the project. Reportedly left 3 weeks after the game was delayed. Can you imagine if Cyberpunk and Halo were still on the books for November? This month that we're coming up on would be insanity.
Yep.
God, with all the news around Infinite, what is that game going to be? Yeah. Because even before this, they've had other very notable high-up people leave the project, and now this is just the most recent one. What?
They don't even want their names attached to it. They're not.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about it. Remember, I thought it looked fine in its big Xbox reveal. I was excited for it.
Yeah.
I was like, I would like to play that game. It looked like classic Halo. Yeah, it had some popping or whatever, but I was like, it's still like 4 months away from launch or whatever it was at the time. I was fine with it, but the backlash that game received and just the internal issues we've seen since that point, I'm worried about the future of Halo, and especially with how bad Halo 5 was, in my opinion. The campaign part, at least. I didn't have that much experience with the multiplayer. I'm worried about Halo. Not going to lie to you. Another delay. This one I think is good news, though. I think this is a good piece of news. Destruction All-Stars, which is an upcoming first-party game from Sony, was going to be a $70 launch title. Looks like a multiplayer, kind of Rocket League-y, kind of Fortnite-y, battle arena game. It was going to be $70. It was delayed to next year, February, and it's going to be a part of PlayStation Plus when it launches. So I think that's a great piece of news. I think that's a great move from Sony. Get it out of the packed month where it surely would have died instantly and had no player base, especially at a $70 price tag, and put it in on PS Plus. It's just a really smart decision.
Yeah, for the type of game that it is, I think this was a really good decision because you see what happens with like Fall Guys. As long as you can build that player base early on, it really sets the game up for success. And I think that they realized that the way they had it positioned with new consoles coming out, with other big games that were also coming out, that it probably just wasn't going to do very well. So you kind of move it out of there, have people have their initial experiences with these launch titles, and then have it come out and try and build up that player base a few months in. I think it's a smart move for a new IP as well.
Yeah. Especially when February could be a lull of games. I mean, not on Switch. We just talked about how Switch has a ton coming in February and March. But on the new consoles, you could see February being kind of the lull after the big launch in November. And that's a good thing to add to your library for free.
And I feel like they have enough games at launch where they can pull a Nintendo and try and stagger out the lineup a little bit. Like how in the Switch's first year, you had a couple of big titles every couple of months. I think it's good to have a game like Destruction All-Stars, a relatively large new IP coming out a couple of months after it launches, and just have big games every once in a while instead of just jamming them into 1 month.
Yes, please.
Yeah, for sure. And then Bugsnax, another PS Plus news. It's going to be on PS Plus only on PS5 on launch day, November 12th, and that runs through January 4th. So I was very excited about this because I was like, yeah, maybe I'll buy Bugsnax eventually, but now that's something that I have the choice to play on day one. So
and I thought that was another really cool piece of news. If you have a PlayStation account, you can access it and like grab it on the web version,
the store.
The web version of the store, and then whenever you upgrade to PS5, it'll still be there in your library. So for people that aren't buying a PS5 on launch, you should still be able to access it and grab it, and then be able to play it once you do pick up a PS5.
So cool piece of news there. Just another game out of the box. So excited about that, and then super excited about this one. I'll just mention this real quick. Brian Matt, the Monkey Ball announcer who's become so famous.
How is he not fired?
He posted a picture saying like Sega release date announcement November 5th, and he said it's finally happening. We're finally getting the video. # Super Monkey Ball.
Oh my God.
That is next week.
Why?
Very exciting.
You have to think that they have approved this. They have to have approved this with everything that he's done. How he's not fired yet.
He's gone rogue.
But if that's the case, why would they be doing it through him and not through their own channels? More people are following Sega on their social media platforms than on the announcer's social media or whatever.
Instagram.
What is this? This is so weird.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah, it's really weird. But hey, it's the day we record next week, November 5th, is when we're getting this announcement. So we record at the very end of the day, so it'll have happened if it's actually going to happen.
If it actually happens.
Yeah. So excited about that. Kevin, that's it for news. Do you want to rip through what we've been playing real quick?
Yeah, let's do it. I'll go first because I got one game. Playing Final Fantasy VII Remake, still playing that. I've gotten to the point now where it's like, hey, finish all the side quests before I get to the point where the game just doesn't end. So I'm looking forward to that. But I'm at the area where I'm doing all the side quests because I've done them all up to this point. So I may as well rip through that and then move on to the final chapter or final chapters, which I'm sure will take a long time. Just trying to beat it before Yakuza comes out and before Sakuna comes out. So I'm on my way on that one. Zach, what you got?
You enjoying it? Are you still enjoying it?
Yes, I am having a lot of fun.
Oh, good.
I'm still really enjoying the combat. And it's a gorgeous looking game. Having a lot of fun with it.
I adore that game.
Zach,
awesome. So Yeah, I think Logan mentioned this on the show last week, but I started replaying the Uncharted
Of course
series
you did. Of
after
course you
having
did.
seen the movie announcement. Not the it's Tom Holland dressed as Nathan Drake released some promotional images for the movie, so I was like, that put me in an Uncharted mood. So I sat down on my day off, ripped through the first Uncharted on normal difficulty, beat it in one sitting. Definitely the worst Uncharted. Still had a good time. It had been a while since I played it. I tried it on Crushing a while ago, didn't get very far, and then gave up. So it had actually been a while since I got through the entire game. So I beat that. Got 0 new trophies. Just did it for the fun. And then I started playing Uncharted 2 not too long ago. I haven't gotten super far into it, but I'm definitely going to go through the first 3 again. Probably not 4 because I already replayed it this year. So I want to do that. And then other than that, the only thing noteworthy that I've been playing is I actually tried out Genshin Impact, which is a new free-to-play JRPG on PlayStation and PC. I think
And
also
smartphones.
and on mobile, I guess. Sure. So yeah, I had some friends talking about it, wanting me to check it out. So I downloaded it, gave it about 2 hours of an attempt. Multiplayer is not accessible until you are adventure rank 16. I got to about adventure rank 4, I think, in my 2 hours. I did not want to put in the rest of the time to do it. Um, I mean, it looks gorgeous. This game is free to play, but it's got a gacha based system where you unlock characters through like loot boxes. They're called wishes and unlock weapons through that kind of thing. They spent, it's from a Chinese development studio who spent $100 million making this game. It's free to play, and they made their money back in, I think, 12 days based off this gacha system.
Gotta love those
Um,
whales,
so,
man.
so they have been they have made the right decision in making this game. I'll just say that. People are spending crazy amounts of money on it to unlock these characters. They have planned. The game looks great. It's very Breath of the Wild inspired in the way it plays. There's climbing mechanics, hang gliders, cooking. The aesthetic is kind of Breath of the Wild. That's fine. The combat system's pretty standard. It's got an elemental based system where there's type advantages, and each character has their own type. So you could play as an ice berserker who has a big sword, or a fire archer who has flaming arrows, stuff like that. And a lot of the combat is cooldown focused, so it plays like Overwatch, where you have to manage your cooldowns until your abilities come back, and you can swap between characters to manage their cooldowns as well. So I didn't get super deep into the combat 2 hours into it, but I know it gets a lot more complicated based on what I heard. So that's good. The characters were kind of make or break for me in JRPGs is whether or not I get attached to the characters. I didn't like really any of the characters. They seem kind of bland, generic JRPG characters. And the story didn't really hook me in the first 2 hours, which is fine. I don't know if I'm going to put any more time into this game. I had a decent amount of time, but having that gap between where I'm at right now and actually getting to the multiplayer, I just don't think it's worth it.
And you
But
have
it
Ghost
is
of Tsushima in the mail.
You do.
and
Play that
exactly.
instead.
And Logan got me to buy Ghost of Tsushima. I got it for $40 off of eBay, which was good because I shot a guy an offer and he actually accepted it. I wasn't expecting that. So now I'll be able to try out the multiplayer with Logan on that.
Nice.
Yeah, no, that just Minecraft, Monster, all the standard crap.
Yep, the normal stuff. Logan, what you been up to?
I'll just say it was just Super Mario Odyssey's 3-year anniversary, so I went back and got
God, how's that game 3 years old?
40 more moons, and I just adore it. It's so great. That's all.
How has it been 3 years since we went to go pick that game up? For real.
2017.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, is that what you're here for?
Yeah, Mario Karts. That's the game you want, right? Yeah.
That game is phenomenal. Yeah, I got nostalgic for when we went and picked that up at midnight at Walmart.
Big opening night for that at Walmart. So many people.
For sure.
But that is going to do it for us. We're running out of time. Any final thoughts from you guys before we end it off?
I'm just excited. I was thinking about something Stealth said last week about how a ton of Nintendo's fall games probably shifted into early next year, which could set up for a dang good year for the Switch. I mean, we're talking what we just said, February and March. You got Mario 3D World, Monster Hunter Rise, Bravely Default. You got now Story of Seasons is coming out. And then later in the year, we know No More Heroes 3, Monster Hunter Stories 2. And then who knows about Breath of the Wild, Bayonetta 3. Like, next year could be dang good for the Switch.
A lot of big games on the horizon. Zach?
And nothing for the new generation of PS5.
Yeah,
and
all
Xbox.
the games.
It's gonna be
all the games
nothing.
are gonna be on Switch. Nothing on
Yep.
nothing on PlayStation. No Halo. No nothing. All right, that is going to do it for us on this week's episode of Oda Games. This is the second video podcast that we're doing. You can find last week's show as well as this week and any of the following weeks on our YouTube channel, Oda Games on YouTube. So you can tune in there, or you can continue tuning in on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, other podcast streaming services that you may use. We're on Twitter at Oda Games. We're also on Twitch at Oda Games as well. You can send an email to odagamescast@gmail.com. For Logan and Zach, I'm Kevin. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next week.